Everyone here today. We did want to give you a quick update because so much has occurred during the day. We've had some very good news, and we've also had some more tragic news. Mike Sprayberry is up with me today to answer any questions you might have, and I also have my budget director, my DEQ director, my transportation director, secretaries, my public safety secretary, my general of the Guard, and also the head of the Highway Patrol. So I'm honored to have each one of you here today. So if there are any specific questions of some of the issues, I also see Dr. Williams from DHS here. Thank you very much for your excellent work. First of all, we have had some more tragic news. We now have 17 confirmed fatalities. We've learned of one more fatality in Columbus County and 2 more fatalities in Robinson County, all due to drowning. This is terrible news. And the reason we're telling you this is not only we care for their families and their loved ones who are grieving, but we also want to let this be known so we prevent any future deaths as the waters rise, especially on the Tar River and the Neuse River. The Tar River is going to be cresting tomorrow in Greenville. The mayor there and the county officials have done an outstanding job regarding evacuations in the area where the predicted models are occurring. We want people to follow those models, stay away from the river as it rises. I know right behind East Carolina where I was yesterday, it's a beautiful park there. Please stay away from that park this evening. That river will rise an awful lot and very quickly, and we don't want you to be swept away. The Neuse River crest will be on Saturday near Kinston. It's rising about a foot a day. I just got off with the phone with Mayor Murphy there. They are extremely well prepared. They've had the proper evacuations. A lot of the businesses that have been will be impacted, including one of my favorite stores, is cleared all their merchandise from the first floor, and they're prepared, and the proper evacuations have been done. But they're anticipating a peak of about 27 feet, and I think they have about 5 feet to go. And so our prayers are with the people of Kinston. I just got off the phone with the county chairman of Edgecombe County, and Princeville is going through the peak at this point in time on the Tar River. Most of that town has been evacuated. They have a history of, sadly, they have a history of flooding, but that county has done an outstanding job in that evacuation, and the people of that town have done an outstanding job, and we pray for their safety, and we hope everyone has evacuated. Rocky Mount seems to be in pretty good shape too. They've done the proper evacuations in the areas that they think may be impacted. Our fingers are crossed that there are no more drownings in those areas, and we're wishing for the best. I'm just real proud of the leadership in that area. The sheriffs in that area have done extremely well too. People that were missing earlier today have been found, and that's extremely good news for us. Regarding roads and highways, we still have many that are closed. However, we have some good news regarding I-95. We have just opened a 15-mile stretch of I-95 in our Harnett and Cumberland counties that have been closed since Sunday when water from the Black River covered that highway. A section of I-95, which I saw yesterday between exits 13 and 31, remain closed due to flooding from the Lumbee River, but a detour is in place. And please follow that detour. Do not try to find your own shortcut, because the shortcuts go right into more water at this point in time. The utilities are about at 230,000 outages. We've made a special request to Duke Energy to really focus on Lumberton and that entire region of Pembroke and Lumberton are the main areas. We really need some power restoration in that area, and they have been working on it all day long, and we appreciate that. We've also secured an accountant, I think from Greenville, called me up and recommended this, and we have followed through on that recommendation. We have just secured that individuals or businesses in some of the most impacted counties that have a tax filing deadline on October 17th or the 20th will now not be penalized for filing or paying late. So to the accountant in Greenville, we appreciate you for that recommendation. This afternoon, I activated the North Carolina Disaster Relief Fund to support long-term recovery efforts from Hurricane Matthew in partnership with the United Way of North Carolina. People and organizations that want to help ensure North Carolina recovers from want them to visit North Carolina Disaster Relief.org. And you can also text NC Recovers at 30306. We really want to encourage people to give to the appropriate Red Cross, Salvation Army, or you can go to ncdisaster.org. This relief fund is directly related to the North Carolina areas that are being impacted. One area that is of special concern right now is the ag industry. My DEQ secretary, Mr. Secretary, has taken a helicopter ride and visited several locations. He has instructed all line landfills that they can't accept swine, poultry, and other animals that have been impacted by Hurricane Matthew, and we want to deal with those losses as quick as possible to prevent any environmental damages. Wood Lake, by the way, we want to just thank the people in Moore County, the National Guard, along with DEQ, thank you very much, Don, has stabilized the Wood Lake Dam, and therefore we have rescinded the evacuation, or Moore County has rescinded that evacuation. We hope it is stable, but right now they feel comfortable to rescind the evacuation, which was done earlier today. I can't tell you, that was quite an engineering feat with a lot of people involved, and let's hope it works. We're going to do everything we can to help the people that are being impacted by this, both with federal monies, with state monies, and have good cooperation with city and county monies. I again talked to the president about 2.5 hours ago. I gave him an update on exactly what is happening in North Carolina. He was extremely appreciative of our teamwork with FEMA. And I want to let you know that in most cases at this point in time, the federal government will cover 75% of the cost that we're incurring at this point in time, and the state will cover the remaining 25% of the cost in response to this disaster. So I'm very pleased with the excellent cooperation that we've had with the president and his administration, and I appreciate the ongoing dialogue. He's actually in Greensboro today at 6 o'clock. I told him to have safe travels, and we appreciated his assistance. I do want to let you know that we are, I'm looking for my notes here, for individual assistance. We realize that the expedited disaster declaration for both public and individual assistance is right now in 66 impacted counties. We are especially concerned right now with several counties that weren't on the initial application submitted by FEMA. Sampson, Harnett, Bertie, Johnston, Wilson, and Wayne counties. We're putting that request in as we speak. We want them to act as though they have it and keep a record of all their expenses at this point in time. Again, I repeat, Sampson, which has been really hit hard, Harnett, Bertie, of course, where Windsor is, and Windsor is underwater again for the second time in 2 weeks, and our prayers are with those people. Of course, Johnson got hit very, very hard, which wasn't anticipated. Wilson and Wayne counties. And again, I appreciate the great teamwork with FEMA at this point in time. That's the latest update. I do want to say one other thing, however. I know we've gotten calls from legislators regarding wanting to call a special session. And I just want to let you know that right now we have 2 disaster funds right now that are available with a combined balance of more than $18 million at this point in time. And in talking to the leaders, the experts in this area, we don't think these funds will not be projected to be exhausted before February of 2017 of next year. So at this point in time, we don't see a need to call a special session, but if there is a need to call a special session, and that's what my experts tell me from both the emergency management team and our budget director, we will do it. But at this point in time, due to very good financing and budgeting that was done by my budget office and by also the state legislature, we feel we have sufficient funds to make it through this time period. This is very reminiscent, by the way, of the time period of other hurricanes that it would needed to go to special session to ask for special funds. But we feel very comfortable at this point in time, especially with the federal assistance, that we have sufficient funds to meet the needs and the request of all the counties and towns that are making those requests at this point in time. If that changes, as governor, I will make a request for a special session. But up until this point in time, based upon our initial projections, and we still have a lot of work to do on those projections, if that changes whatsoever in the next several days or the next week, we will call a special session. So with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions that you might have. Drew Heath, my budget director, is here to answer any questions regarding that too. He's my finance guy. Any questions? I'd like to thank Virginia Johnson, also my federal coordinator. Appreciate all your work with the senators and the congressional officials. Appreciate it very much. Yes.
Wanted to see if you have any numbers or estimates on the livestock, and what are some of the concerns and why you're trying to get them buried as fast as possible.
We do not have any numbers at this point in time. It looks like most of the large volume, and it's probably a large volume, is chickens who are drowned. And then we're going to have some pig losses or hog losses. And so those are the two major issues. I don't know about some of the other losses. Don, do you want to come up here and answer that question too? Why don't you come on up here, and that'd be good. There's some issues regarding how to best deal with them because of the potential of burying them in the wrong place. But we want to deal with them very, very quickly. This is
Right.
Don Vandevar, the Secretary of DEQ.
Right. I just want to make clear that burying is not the most the best option, and that we were faced with that back in 1999. But it's not best for groundwater and for other issues. Our intent is to have them taken to lined landfills, and we've already contacted those, and they are willing to accept the livestock.
Will that be in the counties that they're located, or
We
is there a central site or something like that?
We have removed any boundary restrictions as well, so it's going to be whatever makes the most amount of sense from a logistical standpoint.
And did that take an order from the governor?
It did not. We under emergency situations, we have that authority, but they've voluntarily acquiesced.
Thank you.
Again, I'd like to, our prayers are also with the ag community. They're going through tremendous loss right now in the poultry business and the hog, and also all the farmers, the peanut farmers, the cotton farmers, sweet potato farmers. We're going to really get a big economic loss regarding this terrible hurricane. So, but we're wanting to get those up as quick as possible. Burying them is not a good option at this point in time, and having them sit in trucks is not a good option either. So we want to deal with them very quickly. Terrible, terrible tragedy for the farmers. Any other questions?
Sorry, I got one more. Voter registration, are you considering extending the voter registration period?
We have not looked at that at this point in time, but let's see how we get through this week and see what the status of the voting early registration sites will be.
Okay.
But I won't close that option at this point in time.
Thank you.
But let's get through Saturday and see what the long-term damage is. We just knew we had a tax filing deadline next week, and that was where we made the immediate move of October 17th, I believe. Any other questions? Thank you all very much.